Hey, I'm Courtney Brooke, and this is Hustle for Happiness podcast. We are all on this journey to find happiness, and let's face it, it takes work. And honestly, it's not always rainbows and butterflies. This podcast is dedicated to helping you navigate life and cut through the noise. As a certified life coach, recovering perfectionist, and survivor of the foster care system, I'm all about keeping things real. With my unique outlook on life that is truly infectious, we cover everything from achieving happiness and optimal self-care to stories of those sharing their wisdom and expertise. Thank you for showing up for yourself. Now, let's get started. All right, here we go. Today's episode is actually one that has been weighing on my mind, my heart, brought into actually a lot of coaching sessions, and just I feel like this needs to be talked about. This episode, we're going to be diving into a topic that society doesn't really always prepare us for. And that is really just to honor ourselves when ending a relationship. And I want to change the term ending or breaking up or it's just a healthy ending and that mindset around endings. It's often dramatized that it should be painful. It should be hard, uncomfortable. It questions our self-worth. All these things come up when we end a friendship, we quit a job, or a family member we just don't really relate to and don't really want in our lives. I can relate to that definitely on personal experience. I've had several families in my life. I was adopted. If you guys didn't know, I was adopted at 9. And so I was in a lot of homes. I was also adopted into a family that, some of the members I love them, but some of them don't serve me. And that was one of them was my sister, my older sister. That was close to home. I've been with her my whole life until I was 19. And she chose to go back to my birth mom. And this is just a side story, but relates to the part of, healthy endings don't have to be painful. But my sister left for my birth mom when I was 19, and that was the last time I saw her. And that was really hard on me. But I also knew that I wanted to go to college, have a career. I had my own goals. And so for me personally, I knew that this was a healthy ending. She chose to leave, right? And I chose my future. And so that relationship with my sister, I could go on a whole podcast episode on just like healthy dynamics with family. But with my sister specifically, I had to end that relationship because it was no longer serving me. She kept bringing the negative into my life, kept bringing me down. And I saw this as signs. We can look at symptoms of, just like when you get sick, you get a headache, you get fevers, you get chills. You say, oh, I'm sick. I need to rest. I need to take medicine. It's kind of like this let's look at this with episodes. If we diagnose ourselves in a relationship, whether you get frustrated, you see it as toxic, your energy is depleted, you're not yourself, you're actually unhappy, you don't know who you are when you are around this person, you're feeling drained, like the list can go on, but these are symptoms, right? That your relationship is no longer working. And so what do? Like you'd get sick, you'd fix and you heal from a flu. What do you need to do? And this is how today's topic on Hustle for Happiness is how do we honor ourselves when we have these healthy endings, right? It can be scary. What are they going to think of me? Is that friend group going to talk bad about me if I move on? Am I selfish for wanting more for myself? Or am I selfish for putting myself first? Or, really just saying, hey, this doesn't serve me. This friendship doesn't really bring value into my life. I'm not fulfilled in my career. And, the movies are really good at making this dramatic. Ending a relationship, a hair dryer gets thrown across the room, a shoe gets thrown across the room. You scream, you yell, you have makeup sex. That's actually really not normal. And so I am here to bring this mindset around healthy endings and how we can honor ourselves and what can we do today or how can we work up to ending a relationship that simply is just, hey, walking away before the drama, before the hair dryer gets thrown across the room, right? Like, it's okay to end peacefully without the whole dramatic scene. Our culture promotes the idea that friendships should last forever through any hardship. This mindset doesn't serve us well. It really has us hanging on till we're the ones inside in pain, right? Like, we're the ones that are hanging on because society says, oh, the longer the relationship, the more loyal they are, the more they're there for me, the more memories we've had. Like, come on, really? Like, society suggests relationships only have value if they continue indefinitely, rather than recognizing healthy endings. Like, you can peacefully break up. You can peacefully end, knowing that it has nothing to do. You don't think less of someone, but you're just honoring yourself, creating space for yourself. You never know, why does it have to end? If we have these dramatic breakups, rather than ending, just see it as, oh, we just need space from each other. I recently had a long-term friend, and I just healthily end. We weren't serving each other. I was constantly giving and giving and giving. Again, another symptom, right? If we look at these things in life as symptoms, rather than weighing it to our self-worth or judging the other person, it was just a symptom that I was seeing in myself in this specific friendship ending was I was being drained. Their patterns kept repeating after 3 years in a row. I'm like, I feel like I've done this before with this person over and over and over. And of course, you can be sad and keep going. You can be sad and end a relationship. We don't have to pick and choose. Oh, I'm going to be sad, but I can't be sad if I don't end it. No, you can end a relationship and be there for yourself. You can end a relationship and still be sad. That doesn't mean you don't care, right? But we have to start recognizing that these symptoms that come up in our life, for me, it was being drained. For me, it was my sister choosing a different path and her, me sacrificing a lot of my life. And so whether it's a family member, a coworker, a loved one, or just a friendship, you can have healthy endings. We're conditioned to see endings only as painful and dramatic rather than, acts of self-care. If we look at a healthy ending as an act of self-care, that's a whole nother mindset we can get into. It's a lot kinder to ourselves, saying, hey, I'm just loving myself right now, and this is what I need. If we get out of everyone else's head of what they think of you or what they think of me, or, what are they going to say, or how is it going to feel? Or maybe it's just what's stopping you from ending this relationship, so to speak, is, maybe I'm trying to think of how to word this, but maybe what's stopping you from ending this relationship is the change. So figure out what you're afraid of why you won't end this relationship. Are you really going to miss them, or is it the fear around it, right? The pain around it, because society is normalizing that, and it doesn't have to be painful, but if we see it as an opportunity, then there's so much that we can move on and look forward to and not sit in that pain and make it so dramatic. This mindset leads to discomfort around ending relationships. The sorrow, the judgment, the pain, what he's going to say, she's going to say. We question if we're being selfish rather than just trusting our instincts, telling us it's simply just time to move on. Endings are stigmatized rather than normalized as a positive way to prioritize our needs and growth. I knew that when my sister left, I also saw this, wow, this is an opportunity. Well, I left for college. And when I went to college, just to rewind, when I went to college, she then left to go back to my birth mom. Little did I know I would never see her again. But I went to college because I prioritized my growth, my happiness, my everything that I wanted, that self-care piece, my needs specifically. Now, it's really hard. Don't get me wrong. I'm still learning this, is putting our needs first. That's saying, hey, when your boyfriend wants to come watch TV and you're like, hey, no, I'd rather read my book tonight. Thank you for inviting me and thinking of me, but I'm going to read tonight. It's that needs piece that, what I need is a friend, a sister that doesn't bring me down and is constantly relying on me to save her from all of her problems. That was a hard choice, but I knew what I needed and I wanted to put myself first. So prioritizing our needs and our growth is a positive thing. And I'm here to share that these societal narratives are not true and we do not have to live this way. We really don't have to. They emphasize that endings don't necessarily change our identity or need to induce suffering. Harding respectfully from things that no longer serve us can allow us to grow and allow us to have a greater positivity and happiness. And what do I mean by that? If we see this as an opportunity versus a painful and dramatic thing, what are we missing out on? What else is going to open up for us when we let go of this friendship? And so how do we honor ourselves? Like, you're like, Courtney, I don't even know where do I start with that. Well, it's first the mindset, right? The mindset of, when I let go of this relationship, I'm taking care of myself. I really believe that everything is seen as an opportunity. And maybe it's not a goodbye forever. It's just you're creating space. And that's going to allow you to either say, hey, I miss my friend or my relationship, wherever you're at. And then you can decide, right? So rather than having this painful, dramatic ending, why don't you just allow yourself to create a healthy ending? And how do you create that healthy ending? And how do you honor ourselves? So that's the next two topics is how do we create this healthy ending, right? It's really just saying to yourself over and over and to this person is just having some open conversations, right? Having open conversations of where you feel, right? It's a way to normalize healthy endings, but to honor ourselves. These healthy endings could just be you sharing your feelings, right? And then they're like, oh, I don't want anything to do with that. Or, it's just the piece that I really have been focusing on, and I encourage you guys to focus on is just sharing, right? When we share, right, it's, hey, I need space. Hey, it's not just quitting cold turkey on a friend and saying peace and I'm going to ghost them. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm not saying that at all, actually. What I am saying is, when we communicate, we're bringing the other person into our life, right? We're bringing them in and communicating with them saying, hey, I need some space right now. I really have not been prioritizing myself. And I really would like your support on this. They might get upset, but you can allow them to get upset. You can allow them to be upset. Remember, we're not trying to rob people of their feelings. That's the hard part is we share our feelings and then we don't want the other person to feel. That's the vulnerability right there. Share your feelings and allow someone else to feel. Allow them to feel the news. So share, don't ghost, and then take your space. Take your space wholeheartedly. What do I mean by that? It's like when you stretch out your arms, like take up that space. Like I'm doing this for me, right? It's take up space without regret, without judgment, without shame. What really works for me is, leaning in that, yeah, this is kind of scary. I just can't believe I just ended this without any reason. Well, yeah, you had a reason. You're taking care of yourself, but it doesn't have to be ugly to end. Like we don't need this huge catastrophic event. It's just, hey, I just feel funny about this and it doesn't feel right for me. Or I want something more for myself. I want to grow. I want to evolve. And this friendship is kind of in my way. And so allowing yourself to just say, hey, I'm not doing this anymore. And sitting in that pain or sitting in that discomfort, right? This is uncomfortable. I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know. This feels weird, but allow yourself that. Allow yourself, because that's where the growth is. That's where the hard work comes in is I'm just putting myself first. I don't know what this looks like, but I know that I don't need this friendship or this relationship or this family member constantly telling me what to do. So step one is just communicating. Don't just ghost. Don't just leave them high and dry, right? Like bring them in. That's vulnerabilities. Hey, I'm putting myself first right now and I need some space. I mean, that's simple. I would like your support in this. That's it. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to, internalize it. You don't need to just simple, like keep it simple and allow yourself to just say, hey, I'm taking space. Rather than just cutting it off abruptly, is I guess what I'm trying to say is don't just cut it off. And then also, too, is just give yourself permission to feel that sadness, but just have confidence that you made the right choice. Have confidence that there's greater things on the other side of this. Have confidence that this is what you need for yourself tomorrow. The future you is going to benefit that, and totally believe in that. You have a gut feeling, and I mentioned this earlier, is listen to those gut instincts. Your gut is not feeling right. Just like when you feel sick, you don't feel right. You don't really question it, do you? You really just allow yourself to either be sick or try to get as healthy as possible again, right? So what would you do in this situation? You have this funny feeling that this relationship is not working for you. So you're going to grow, meaning you're going to end the relationship. You don't really know why, and you're going to get healthy. You're going to get healthier when this toxic relationship is out of your life. And believing in that, and believing that this is the right choice. Love the you that is ready to end this relationship. It doesn't have to be messy. You don't have to just ghost them. So we bring in the vulnerability piece, right? But then also, right, is owning that decision, but then also celebrating growth opportunities that come after endings, such as space for a new relationship, for a new opportunity. You're going to have more time to see this. You're going to have space to see that this is all happening for you. So I encourage you to celebrate. Be excited about it. Be excited that you made that choice. You're putting yourself first. I mean, you're literally putting yourself first. Of course, it's going to be scary. You've never had this opportunity. And so I challenge you to challenge. The next thing is challenge that internal narratives that you've failed or you're selfish. So those internal narratives is I'm a bad person. I can't believe you're breaking up with a family member, right? It's those thoughts that come in after you've done this, or those thoughts that come in because you're not going to do it. Those thoughts that prevent you from ending the toxic relationship is what I'm trying to say. But see endings as empowering acts of love. So when those thoughts come in, challenge them. I highly encourage you to challenge every limiting belief that comes in. Oh, you're a bad person. Oh, you're selfish. You've failed. You're bad. All those negative thoughts. I mean, we all have them. I mean, as soon as my sister left, I left for college and my sister left. I'm like, I'm a bad sister. I'm not loyal. I'm the only person she's ever had. Of course, I felt sad. But that's the next piece of this, is sit in those emotions. Like really sit, be sad. Because of course you love them. Of course you love them. You can love them and not have a relationship with them. You can love them by letting go. You don't have to pick and choose. That doesn't mean you don't love them less when you end a relationship. That doesn't mean that. And society normalizes that. Oh, when you end a relationship, that means you don't love them. That means you're disowning them. That means you're forgetting them. Whatever society says is what I'm trying to say. Whatever they say. Let them say that. Let them. But also listen to you. What do you want? Right? Society doesn't let us move on without big fiasco. And I'm here to say, no, it doesn't have to be a big fiasco. Don't even let your thoughts be a big fiasco, though. Don't let those internal narratives dictate why you don't leave the relationship, right? It doesn't have to be dramatic. You don't have to fight yourself. You don't have to hate each other. But let's honor ourselves. Let's learn that endings can be healthy. Endings can be an opportunity. But most importantly, endings are another way to love yourself. I'm a huge product of my environment. Right before I met James, actually, James and I met in 2018. I was hanging out with a group of girls that would just go out, party. I had so much fun. But you know what? I didn't want to introduce them to James. This is a secret. I don't even know if James knows this. I was embarrassed. I was scared, not embarrassed. I was scared to bring James around this group of girls because I thought that they would try to take him from me. No joke. I was so insecure that I wasn't the prettiest, the most fun, the most successful, the best personality. I was like, and also, most importantly, I thought they would try to steal him from me. That's when I knew this friend group was not for me. And I have the most love for them. But no joke, they hated that. They hated that I didn't want to bring him around, that I found a good guy. He was successful, funny, good, all the things that checked the boxes I knew that they were looking for. But I was in this mindset, oh my gosh, if I can't bring the guy I like around my friends, is this the friend group I want? And nothing happened at that moment where it was oh, she did this or this, we broke up. The friendship for me was just oh, these aren't my friends anymore. I can't trust them. See the symptoms, right? The symptoms of, when we fight, with ourselves of, oh, we're when you rub, you don't know, you have friction with your friends, or some things just don't add up with your boss or a family member. You're just it's more painful than it is enjoyable. I saw a lot of symptoms start to come out and surface. And so for me, I saw this as, whoa, this isn't the friend group for me. Nothing necessarily bad happened. I just saw myself changing around my friends. I saw myself being distant and secretive. And I was oh my gosh, I don't trust them. And so for me, I was okay, I just have to end this. Now they went around spreading rumors and they did their thing but I allowed them to process their pain. They were upset because I was moving on, and I'm doing quotation marks with my hands right now. They were upset that I was moving on. But I wasn't I wasn't necessarily moving on. I still had a love for them, and I loved myself to keep going, to keep moving forward. Never talked bad. I understand that they had their pain and I allowed them, but I had my own sadness. And that's what I want you guys to, I'm just trying to relate in terms of like, it didn't have to be dramatic. I think that they wanted it to be dramatic, but I didn't want that. I just wanted to be healthy, a healthy ending. You know, I didn't want to provide extensive explanations for ending. I just did what was best for me. And I had a good guy in my life, now my husband, but I had a good guy in my life that I was so excited about. And I had to do what was best for me. And so I know that you are who you hang out with. And I really believe in that. And it started changing me because I felt like I had to choose between James and my friends because I never wanted James to hang out with my friends. And so it started to build the animosity and the drama. And so I was like, whoa, this is now becoming like more than what it should be, right? And so I just want to share with you, like, endings, start listening to your symptoms, start listening to your gut feel. Like, it's causing more pain. It doesn't mean that you don't love them, but it's time that we love ourselves. And I really want to normalize that we don't have to have endings that are painful. You know, relationships only have value if they go on forever. You know, that staying in a romantic relationship long past the expiration date. Like, if you see it ending, just have that conversation with yourself. You know, relationships also like all the time I see this in the movies. Relationships should last forever through any hardship. They've been there for me forever. And I've been there through her when she's got cheated on, or she cheated, or she stole, or whatever it is. Or I was there for him when he had no money, or he couldn't pay his rent. Like, I get that you can be with someone through thick and thin, but like feeling obligated to remain friends with someone who constantly cancels plans on you, that's another thing, right? Cancels plans, borrows money, never pays you back, only calls you when they need something. Take is what I'm trying to say. Again, symptoms, right? These are symptoms that it's probably time to have a healthy ending. Add that to your thing, not we're breaking up. Healthy endings. This is all how we honor ourselves with a healthy ending. You know, this discomfort around ending relationships from questioning like motives, wondering if you're overreacting to your partner's controlling behavior. Like, if you have an emotionally controlling, jealous, or a guy that won't let you go out, or a girl that's constantly checking your phone, like, I don't know. Listen to the symptoms. You have a gut intuition, and I'm here to encourage that. Just listen. Just start noticing how you are around people in your life, and you have complete choice to remove them without explaining yourself. So let's see it as an opportunity for growth for you, for ourselves, right? And so as we wrap up today's discussion on learning to end connections in a healthy way, I just want to leave you with a quote that really resonated with me. I heard it on my meditation app the other day, and it brought me so much like solace in the fact that like, wait, I totally get this. And so the quote is, I'm learning to love the sound of my feet, walking away from things that are not meant for me. And when I first heard this, it really just struck a chord for me. Like, ending relationships, especially ones you've invested a lot of time and emotion in, is really never easy. It really isn't. Like, we give and we give and we give. And so, but let me leave you with this. Like, let's embrace this mindset of walking proudly towards what is meant for your path that has been empowering, right? Rather than seeing endings as failures, I'm trying to celebrate them as opportunities to shed situations holding me back and just to move closer to my dreams, my goals, my wants, my needs, right? It's taught me to trust my instincts, respect myself enough to walk away from toxicity, and love the journey of just continual growth and change. That's responsibility. That is joy right there, is when we take responsibility for the things around us. That literally is pure joy. Like, so true. And I hope today that sharing my experiences helps even one of you feel less alone in navigating these waters. If you take anything from today's episode, I hope it's permission to just love your journey wherever your feet may land. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'm here, and thanks for tuning in. I hope today's episode left you better than when I found you. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and tune in every Monday to kickstart your week and set your weekly intentions with me. You can find me and HFH on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, or online at heycourtneybrooke.com. I firmly believe in the power of sharing. If you know someone else who would benefit from this podcast, please share it with them. And remember, when you work on you, I get to be there.